Here comes the demonization.
For Israelites, it'll blow your mind. It's a cult. Black Keeper Israelites, it'll blow your mind. It's a cult, basically, where they think black people are the only people that can enter the kingdom of heaven. They believe that black people are the true Israel. They're God's true chosen people. And so if you're not black, you're essentially going to hell. According to the Black Hebrew Israelite theology, you and I are on a fast track to hell right now.
Interesting. Why do they think that?
It's the same thing with the KKK leader guy. They can cherry pick things from scripture and quote mine to find things that fit their narrative.
There's a town called Pulaski. They say that the KKK was kind of born out of Pulaski. I did this woman's podcast and she went down and interviewed the leader down there today. The interviewer asked him if his wife or his son or somebody was dying in the hospital and the only blood available for the blood transfusion was the black person's blood. He said he would refuse it and let his wife and kid die. Black Keeper Israel.
Shalom. Call Halayim La Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Double honors unto our apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Much peace and blessings to all you sincere I came out there that's pushing this 100% truth with all sincerity, faith, and with charity. This is your brother Osh from the Great Millstone, Miami, Great Millstone, Hollywood Beach Camp. Coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is going to be a quick lesson on how the demonization is coming. It's here. Okay. For all of us brothers in the truth, starting with our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, we've known this day was coming. We've known this time was prophesied in the scriptures where this truth that we preach, that we believe in, would be come against hard by the world. All right. We understand, as the scriptures say, as Yahweh Shai said, and this gospel shall be preached in all of the world for a witness against all nations, and then shall the end come, roughly paraphrasing. And this truth, via the internet, the unicorn, is being preached throughout the four corners of the earth, throughout the world, and mainly through the efforts and the labors of our apostles and elders and the brothers of Great Millstone. This truth has become mainstream. All right, it's not a mainstream religion, but it is being talked about on major platforms. Okay, this is a clip that I just played from the Sean Ryan show. Okay, which this guy Sean Ryan appears to be a so-called white man, appears to be an Edomite. He could be a Jake, but to my knowledge, he was a guy who was part of some military, former CIA contractor and a former Navy SEAL, which we know there is no real getting out of the CIA. Okay, once you become a CIA contractor, CIA operative asset, they get their claws, their hooks inside of you. They own you for life, man. That's just how Esau rolls. Okay, and he has a podcast, and you see the amount of subscribers he has, 6.2 million. This is a major YouTube platform. Okay, and Esau understands that the internet, these different alternative news outlets, alternative podcasts, is the way media is transferred in this day of age. And his audience is mainly conservative Edomites. All right, and a lot of so-called truthers, a lot of people who are hip, so to speak, to the elites and different so-called conspiracy theories, right? That's what he talks a lot about in his show. And I just played this clip.
Black Hebrew Israelites, it'll blow.
And you see what they're talking about, black Hebrew Israelites. And you got this Edomite on here, whoever the hell this is, Bryce Crawford. I guess he's another YouTuber. Right, I believe I've seen his name before. Like a young Gen Z Edomite. I think he's a Christian, if I'm not mistaken. Like a Christian influencer. Okay, but they're talking about the black Hebrew Israelites, and he's mentioning black, putting emphasis on the black. Okay, and of course you have different Israelite camps outside of Great Millstone that's been teaching this truth, that we're the people, but they just focusing on black, which we tell you, a lot of these other camps don't really focus on it, but we know, according to the scriptures, that you're going to have Israelites coming from every nation on earth, looking like every nation on earth. But this truth is mainly being pushed from Babylon the Great, which is America. And here in America, the bulk of the Israelites are so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And this is where the great destruction will take place at the climax of the Third World War. All right, America will be destroyed. So this is also the place where the great salvation will take place, when the Lord returns in those chariots, so-called UFOs. So that's why we focus on the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but you will have an innumerable amount of Israelites being saved from all over. But they focus on the black to demonize this truth, to reduce the spirituality of what we have going on. Okay, they played a clip of the Drewski skit, which we know Drewski is set up. We know he been to the Diddy parties, right? They also mentioned the KKK, which is funny because that's an Edomite hate group, so-called hate group, right? So they're trying to make it seem like we're the black version of the KKK. All right, you got a lot of people saying we're worse than the KKK. Which who have we gone around and offed based on them being so-called white. All right, but we do know that you have a lot of these Israelite groups out here that are paid off, and they push that black shit. They push that militant, carnal vibration, because they're set up to make us look bad, and they have a role to play. Okay, but at the end of the day, Israel is still pushed. So like the scriptures say, you can do nothing against the truth but for the truth. But the fact that this is being talked about on a major podcast like the Sean Ryan Show is more proof that Esau is getting ready to roll. He's getting ready to begin his major smear campaign, which we knew was coming. Okay, so the point of this lesson is to speak on brothers in the truth, us brothers that have this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, to gird up our loins, okay, to be vigilant, be sober, as the scriptures say, knowing your adversary, the devil, going about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Okay, this thing is getting ready to go to the next level, and it's all the will of the Lord. All right, so we're just going to get some scriptures. Okay, I'm going to start off with Start off with this. I believe that's how it's spoken, right? I believe that's in the book of Matthew. If I can't search it, I believe I know where to go. Yeah, let's go to Matthew. I believe it's Matthew 24. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. All right, that's the time that we're coming into. All right. Before things really get bad, this devil is going to persecute the Israelites, all right? Because before things can really accelerate, before, the things take place that we really need to happen in order for us to get out of here, this truth has to be demonized, okay? Because that's what's going to make the Lord move very fast when they begin to lay their hands on the prophets. And before they can physically lay their hands on the prophets, they have to run the smear campaign to justify coming after brothers, okay? Let me see if I can find it. It's something else too I wanted. Yep, Luke 21, verse 11. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you, right? So this thing is going to go from, these different podcasts talking about us, demonizing this truth, running the smear campaign. It's going to get physical to where they're going to physically grab brothers up, throw brothers in prison. Okay, that's Revelation, the 2nd chapter. Right, Satan shall cast some of you into prison, and you shall be tried 10 days. Okay? Because the purpose of this demonization is to show who the Lord is really with. That's why Matthew 24 says, many shall be offended. Okay? That's also 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, when it speaks about the great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. It says, then shall it be known who are my chosen. So the brothers that endure this heavy persecution that's coming, the Lord is going to lift up a standard for those men. Okay? And for their wives and for their children and for everyone that's joined unto them that believe in this word and also believe in the prophets. Believe in the men that the Lord sent. Okay? So lucky on my phone, trying to glitch out. Okay? You're going to have people that's going to believe on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai because they believe in the men that he sent. That's how really this truth works. We believe in the Lord because we believe that the apostles and the elders of GMS are the true men of the Lord. All right. But again, those who endure is going to be shown that they are the true men of the Lord. And for those that don't endure, it's going to be shown that they're not the true men of the Lord. You're going to have a lot of these different Israelite groups folding under the pressure. They're going to break. They're going to turn coat. We're seeing it now. You got men selling out, men switching up the doctrine, and this thing hasn't even begun yet. So how much more when Esau begins to start to come after brothers, man? Okay, so we got to make sure that our faith is grounded and rooted. We got to make sure that we're counting the costs. We got to make sure that we really know what's going on. And I'm talking to myself first. Okay, that's what I'm saying, we. Because you can't say that you won't do something if you haven't been put in that position. All right, that's why we have the opportunity now to gird up, to prepare ourselves mentally and spiritually. Okay? And pray to the Lord to give you the strength to endure what's coming. This is not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be a trial. Okay? Again, Luke 21:12. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Okay? So again, before shit really get bad, this has to come to pass. And again, that's what's going to make the Lord move even faster. Okay, that's when miracles is getting ready to take place on high levels. The Lord defending brothers, being with brothers, giving men spiritual power. These are all things that we want, right? Well, this has to happen first. All right, that's why it says, okay, in the NLT verse 13 says, but this will be your opportunity to tell them about me. So again, nothing can be done against the truth but for the truth. So as much as this demonization and persecution is takes place, right? You have the saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Okay? So as long as this truth is being publicized, you know, to the very end, you're going to have people, the majority of people are going to fall for the deception, but you're going to have certain people that's going to be like, you know what? Let me look into this. Let me do my own research. And they're going to end up being converted. Okay? People that look like Edomites. People that look like Moabites. All right? Jakes that you thought were coons and Uncle Toms, they're going to end up waking up. Because the Lord is going to gather his elect, no matter what. Okay? Verse 14, settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. You see that? So when this time comes, the Lord is going to be, pouring out his spirit on such a high level to where this truth is going to be pushed out even more on a much greater level. Once the spotlight is on us, that's when the Lord is really going to show up and show out through his men. Okay? Now the spirit is on brothers doing multiple videos a day, videos throughout the week, go to camp multiple times a week, right? And the spotlight is not even on us like that. So what you think in these times? All right? Miracles being performed and thousands of men being converted in one day. That's the times we're getting ready to come into. All right, and it's going to be a beautiful thing, a very beautiful thing to witness. Lord willing, we endured so we can take part in that. Okay? And at the end of the day, we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. So we don't have to, as Yahushua said, we don't have to meditate on what we shall answer We don't have to stress ourselves about this time that's coming, but it's just to be aware so that we can pray and prepare spiritually. Okay, we don't have to get carnal. We don't have to prepare a script. You know what I mean? We just have to make sure we're doing what we have to do. And the Lord is going to do the rest. That's why Revelation 3:10 says, roughly paraphrasing, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee in the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them which are upon the earth, which dwell upon the earth. And we know ultimately that's the MOTB. But this is going to lead up to that. People being ostracized from society, people being blacklisted, people being demonized, categorized. Because right now, it's going to start off with Israel being demonized, but everybody's going to be demonized. That's what these people don't get. Because the powers that be want a one world government, a one world belief system, a one world monetary system. And everything outside of that is going to get, taken out one by one. So it's going to go from us being demonized to everybody else being demonized. Okay. So that's pretty much it. I brought out some few scriptures, but we quoted a good amount of scriptures. And I believe the point has been made. Okay. So yeah, the demonization is here. It's coming. So gird up. With that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem, Yahushai. And until the next one, Shalom.